I don't support medically transitioning children or anyone under 18 or anyone under 25 if it was up to me. And that doesn't make me a bigot. It doesn't make me a TERF. It doesn't make me crazy. I'm done hiding. Like, I've had a lot of feelings about the trans community for a long time. And you guys can call me any names you want. Most of the country feels this way. So, and common sense is really, really important. And I have all this respect in the world for the queer community. I have all of the love in the world for the queer community. But when you start medically transitioning children, I'm done. When you start erasing women, I'm done. When the left, which is happening, like Dylan Mulvaney, I've always wanted to call that person a clown. Like, can I just be honest about that? That is a mockery of women. You don't get to just cosplay, appropriate womanhood, and then be accepted in all, like, the left will tell you that you should never be with a man and decenter men, and which I did. I've been celibate for years, but they tell you, don't ever trust men, and men are the worst, and the patriarchy and misogyny, and like, But if a man is trans, or if a man decides that he's a woman, and there's actually trans people, I know that they don't just decide that, but it's like, I'm sick of this. This is abusive to the human brain to tell women that don't trust any men and the bear in the woods situation and all that stuff, except for a man who thinks he's a woman. Then you can trust them. That's fucking crazy. And people need to stand up and say that. And there are exceptions to everything. Gender dysphoria is real. People, you know what I mean? Like, there's people who genuinely need to medically transition and it saves their life and changes their life. There are people who genuinely live as women and don't want to hurt anyone and have pure intentions. That's very, very, very real. I'm not discounting people who are trans that are genuine. And there are also a bunch of men who struggle with autogynephilia and things like that, and it's sexual for them. And there has been an erasure of women. Like, there is just this thing where it's like, what is a woman? We know what a woman is. So I support the trans community, and I also support common sense. Somebody like Blair White. I mean, somebody like Buck Angel, and you guys can say, oh, they're transphobic. They're trans. They are trans and talking about common sense things and speaking against medically transitioning kids. That's where I'm at with it. And I've always been afraid to talk about my issues with it. So you can think I'm a TERF or not. Like, you can think I'm a TERF. I don't care. I really, really don't care. The left has completely pushed me out. I owe the entire internet an apology for using the same woke cult language. I talk about cults on this channel, and I was a part of a liberal cult. And I'm not joining the alt-right. I'm not joining anything. I'm not labeling myself politically because I'm so tired of it. But there's so much going on with the dark side of wokeism on the left, and I have fully woken up to it. And telling children that they are possibly in the wrong body is one of the most abusive things I've ever heard. And honestly, all private parts are the same. Are they not? Are all private parts the same, or are they not? Like, why can't we teach people to love their own body? Again, if you have genuine gender dysphoria, okay, then you can go have that surgery when you're 18. We do the same thing with cars. We do the same thing with other things. Like, you can't drive until you're 16. It doesn't matter how big of a tantrum you throw about it. It doesn't matter if you say, oh, my life's over if I can't drive. You can't legally drive until you're 16. If somebody had told me, I was such a tomboy, and I was confused, and I was autistic, why don't I get to stick up for the autistic people who get sucked into the trans umbrella, who don't realize that they are just autistic? I have watched interview after interview after interview with an autistic person. Yes, real people. I'm not just hearing this on the news. This is why I changed my mind. Is because I started watching interview after interview after interview with detransitioners. And those people are real, and they matter, and their stories matter. And I've seen autistic person after autistic person. I was like, I just didn't know I was autistic. I didn't know I was neurodivergent. I thought that what was wrong with me was I was trapped in the wrong body, and that could have happened to me. And I don't think it's trendy to cut off parts of your body. That is such a serious thing, and I see person after person on this app chopping off their breasts. It doesn't make me a bigot that I'm concerned about that. It's insane to look away from that, and so many people feel so abused by this entire conversation because we can't have meaningful, deep, nuanced conversations about it. It just has to be like, you're against it or you're for it. Why can't I be against the bad parts of it and be for the parts that are so valid? Why? How has that become abnormal in our culture? And I also played into it on the internet. I was calling people anti-Semites and white supremacists and all this stuff. And those things are real. They're out in the world. But we use them in the most, like, ridiculous ways now. And this is why the election went the way it went, because I'm not a white supremacist or a bigot or a racist for voting for Trump. And I'm not scared to say that anymore. And I'm not, like, I voted because of so many reasons. So many reasons. But I am passionate about kids. Like, an interview I watched the other day, male to female transition. And this person had the full, female reassignment surgery. They have a cavity in their body, right? Because you can't actually make a vagina. Like, I'm so sick of the gaslighting, telling people, oh, you can become a woman. No, you can live as a woman if you would like, as much as possible, and if that's really what you want, and, like, I support that. But you're never going to actually have a vagina. You're never going to actually have a penis. But what you will have is a slew of medical complications, even if it goes well. Even if it goes well. So I would like to help people, kids, adults, everybody, be more comfortable in their own body. Everybody's like, gender doesn't matter, gender doesn't matter. Then why are you changing your private parts? If everybody should accept every gender, which we should, why on earth are we encouraging a child to take off their private parts or switch it or whatever? Go watch some of these interviews on YouTube. Watch them, hour and a half long, where somebody explains what they actually went through with their medical transition and surgery and how young it started. How young did it start? How easy was it for them to make an appointment to chop off a part of their body? Like, I'm done. The interview I just listened to, this poor, I think he identifies as a man now, but he has a cavity in his body that is full of infections, and they can't get it under control, and people die, and he's trying to warn people and help kids with the realities of transitioning. I support trans people. I believe in gender dysphoria. I believe in supporting that. I believe in medical transitions for adults if you would like that, but I don't think it solves your problem. And you can call me a bigot all day. You really can. Not you. I'm just saying other people. I'm not afraid of these views anymore. I'm not afraid of these beliefs. Common sense needs to make a comeback. Thank you.